C is, one C can stand for communications, another stands for cooperation, and the third stands for commerce. And that's a lot about what 1 Million Cups is doing. Getting people together, cooperate, communicate, and improve commerce in their businesses and for our whole community. So thank you very much. Good day.
So now we're going to hear from Valerie, our presenter. So tune in, listen in, jot down questions as she speaks. Welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So, my name is Valerie Navarro Burrows. I created VIV a year ago because I worked for 30 years in corporate finance in offices that didn't have a nice view on the garden like this one, and that were pretty great. And I realized that it was making me feel bad, and now I know that it was not the fruit of my imagination, it's reality. Science proves there's a problem. So I decided to fix it. The air indoor is 5 times more polluted than outdoor because we are surrounded by basically plastic and it emits VOCs. The effect is that people are tired, sick, and not as productive as they could. And it's also proven that if you are working in a leafy office, you're 15% more productive than in a non-leafy bare office. So maybe small businesses could benefit of this boost in productivity. Large corporations like Amazon, Google, Apple, all these guys, they got the research and they've already implemented actions on them and included plans in their headquarters and offices. For example, Amazon has 40,000 plants in their new headquarters in Seattle, and if they do it, it's not because they really love plants, it's because they're going to get more out of their employees. The problem is that small businesses are not equipped to do that. They don't have the knowledge or the resources to follow the trend. So this is where VIV comes in. VIV targets small businesses that have 10 to 20 employees, often located in co-working spaces. At least this is where I have traction so far. And we bring nature elements. Nature is not only plants. Nature is having natural textures like cotton, silk, seagrass, moss. It's having shapes of nature, designs of nature. It all encourages you to feel better and more productive. And this is one example of an office that I did in WeWork on K Street. Oops. The ultimate goal is to create an app. You take a picture of your office. It generates objects, plants, decorative items that are all nature focused and eco-friendly. And then you get the design of your future office and have all these elements shipped to you and then installed by yourself or by an installer, should you prefer that. That's the end goal. I'm not there yet. I'm still getting the testing done. That would allow 3 sources of revenues: the sales of the plants and decorative items, installations, and what I call auto refills, which would be to update the decor and the plants probably on a quarterly basis. I need help. I would be interested in seeing what you believe is the most compelling argument to add nature in your workspace. What would you make, what would make you do it? Then I need to recruit beta testers because right now I'm testing my questionnaire online. So I would love help figuring out where I can find these people. And finally, I need a co-founder in marketing with skills in marketing as possible. very much.
So we'll leave these up here. Let's give her a round of applause. So here's the time in our show where we get to give feedback, and we want to give wonderful feedback to the person that is presenting. So make sure that your feedback is, how do I want to say that? Constructive, where the person can use this feedback to grow their business. Try not to be critical, but helpful. We would also like for you to take the index card and put your name and your phone number and your email address at the top. And then any questions that you have, even the ones that you speak, that you put out, put that on the card, and we're gonna hand these to her after this is over. I'm gonna do my best to get to you as fast as I can. If I forget you, it's not my fault. You wasn't paying attention enough to me. But let's go ahead and get started with the questions.
The first one, where you're trying to kind of see how to sell to the workplaces. So I was thinking happy places, happy, high productivity might be because everybody wants the people to be happy and working hard. So you might want to go along those lines.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great.
And I love your idea, by the way. It's amazing.
Can you go back to your first slide? We're talking about who you are and what you do.
This one?
Yes. Because when I started looking at that, I took from this that you're a interior designer, a redecorator. But then in the next slide you start talking about plants and being more. So I think my suggestion is just to incorporate that right from the very beginning, because you immediately get placed into a bucket of interior designers, and you're an interior designer. You're an interior designer plus. Does that make sense?
That makes sense, absolutely, yes.
Because it's all about separating yourself from the pack, right? So what's your unique value proposition, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So the example you gave was an office in WeWork. Is your kind of longer term vision to do individual offices, or your longer term vision to go into a large organization and help them understand by fitting out how, maybe they've got, I don't know, 100 people, right? If they were to refit out their building the way that you would like, you've got to stay in camera shot. They don't care about me, but you're important. So I think the reason I'm asking the question is there's a different mindset from an individual thinking about, hey, 15% extra productivity, like how much do I care? Versus a larger organization who's thinking productivity, there's a second piece to that, which is even more important, and that's retention of employees, right? Because that's way more money than this, right? So I think what you might want to do is talk about those two things together, about productivity, but also retention, because it costs roughly about $60,000 to $70,000 to lose someone, then replace them, right? So you might kind of want to think a little bit about how you might want to tie those things together.
Thank you, I like it.
Do you have customers now, or do you have a linchpin customer now?
I do have customers, not many, I have 5 customers so far.
Where I'm heading with this is have that customer you can tell a story around, right? And so you can take that story, because no one can argue with stories. They can argue with metrics, they can say 15%, but no one can argue with an anecdotal story or something. If you have a use case and how this other client of mine achieved these results and had this, and you have some nice pictures, people love to see that and they can argue that story.
For beta testing, do you have a menu of 3 to 5 beta testing options? So for example, if you're a solopreneur in a WeWork type space, here's one way you could beta test. If you're a corporation, another way could be the shared space, right, where you see the 40,000. Another could be team rooms. So can you talk through when you mean beta, who exactly are you looking for, and what are you offering at what price point? Are you still figuring that out?
Right now, the question what style would you like to see in your office? Zen, creative, multicolor. What budget do you want to dedicate to transforming your space? And then what colors do you want to focus on? And then take pictures of your space and email to me. And then I'm going to create a rendering and send it to you with the budget, and you can pick and choose whatever you would be interested in.
So right now you're the app,
The
Pulling in
app
the
is
data,
manual,
right?
yes, I'm
Okay.
the app.
Perfect. And so when do you need, how many beta testers do you need if I win?
I would like 10, at least 10. 10 of a group, not 10 solo. That would be excellent.
Question number 2, you said this will, is expected to improve the productivity,
Yes.
and it's 50%, is that what you said?
15%.
15%.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
It's research.
Okay.
Oh, so I know that the app is the ultimate goal.
Yes.
How are you going in and judging the spaces now to make those suggestions?
Right now, I've been in the spaces, so it's, this is why I would like to test it without going physically in the space and see if the picture is truly sufficient to make a good recommendation. And what kind of picture? Because we tested, for example, the panoramic picture, it didn't work out at all. 3 times it didn't work.
I have a second question. Yeah. You recommend plants and you'll ship the plants. What about plant maintenance? Because that's always a concern for people.
That's
Plants die in the office.
Yes, right now, it's a very limited business, so I'm not helping people watering, but yes, I thought of including this into the service, absolutely. I wanna focus on one type of plant to make the maximum changes on my site, which are very easy to handle, then water every other week. So it would also generate less maintenance costs for the
So, have you reached out to commercial building facility managers or building owners?
I haven't yet. I would like to try, absolutely.
And I think that that's where, those guys are with deep pockets and they want to make sure that they're getting the right type of tenants in their building and making it kind of what you're saying in terms of, eco-friendly and stuff like that.
That would be my perfect client. I would love that.
Yeah, so John actually covered where I was going to say. Rolls Royce is looking to move into Reston, right?
Right.
Give them a call and say, listen, I'll come and kick your place. I'm dead serious. It was just announced yesterday, we're moving offices right to Reston train station. So those are the type of companies who are already putting in permits for new office space. Is you want to start a conversation with them.
I would love that.
Because those are, although they're big organizations, they are forward thinking,
Yes.
right? And they might get this more so than maybe someone who's kind of set in their ways, if you will. And Rolls Royce are.
Absolutely.
Mine is right on that same line. I would team with office furniture companies like the Herman Millers and the other people to have them as additional extensions of your business.
And I'm following on that, I would go to the neighbors of those Rolls Royce and Google and places that are already here that are doing this, and they're doing, you can tell them they're doing it right next door, and if they wanna see, so just go to their neighbors, right? It's a great idea.
Yeah, I would love to talk more about that.
No, you're gonna have to remember it now.
Have you reached out, I apologize for missing the last part of your presentation, have you reached out to landlord and property management companies?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet.
Because that may be a logical place, especially with like companies like Verity, which is in Reston, who already has associations with some of the companies that James and others are mentioning. And their headquarters is right there in Reston, and I'm
Absolutely.
happy to make an introduction for you.
I would love that.
Okay.
Thank you so much, yes.
Two thoughts. One, since you're at, or working with MEC at George Mason, it'd be great to find a way to get introduced to George Mason on campus and have this be something you can provide to the university and share spaces, classrooms, dorms.
Yep. I'll mention it.
The second thought would be joining a chamber and being a speaker and working with the chamber to redo their office space so people see it. Do some press releases there so businesses can see that as well. So just to.
Yeah, great idea.
Reston's under
Especially a
construction
Reston
right
chamber.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Great idea. Oh, yeah. I love it. That's right.
Hold on. Okay,
Yeah, Reggie Holmes, Enthused Creative. So my wife is a teacher, so her office is her classroom. So it's not only a space for her to work, but for the students, it's a place where they learn. So I definitely think working with schools and any place where people come, because they spend as much time there as a professional does working in their office. So it's an office that we come a certain time. So I think any relationships with schools, school districts, universities will be good. And I think teachers are, the type of beta tester people that you're looking for because they have the ability to, design their classroom in the way that they think will create the most productivity and creativity. So they're looking for things that they can do relatively inexpensively and easily to be able to make it a more productive environment. So I think they're ready-made audience.
I would love to connect, to follow up on that, yes. Great suggestion.
I thought, what causes that 15% increase in productivity? The air cleaner, the attitude of the employee?
Yeah, all of the above. The workspace feels nicer to the employee. The reason being that we are animals. We were built to be outside with the trees. Our brain is wired to respond to the outdoor environment. Our brain is not wired to respond to gray concrete lines. And we don't realize it, we don't feel it, but we all function better if we are surrounded by nature. Because it's our natural environment. Like a fish cannot survive without water. I'm not gonna say that we cannot survive without nature, but it's the same concept. And research by Harvard, Cornell, UCLA, everybody has repeatedly shown for the past 35 years that once you're surrounded with nature, you feel better, you're more productive, and you're happier.
One quick thought, I just occurred to me, Steve Jobs used to go, I read an article recently, he had a problem, exit problem, he always went outside, he went for a walk. Doesn't help him solve the problem, just
Yes, yes, absolutely.
One other thought, there are a lot of senior living facilities in the area. I think that maybe reaching out to them because they have people on staff who it's low maintenance, probably just water plants and everything. But it'd probably be a huge benefit if they don't already have someone. Do you have a sense of competitors?
Yes, there are plantscaping companies already who bring plants and do the maintenance as well. There are interior decorators, interior designers. They're my competitors too. And there are savvy business operations people who combine both by themselves. What I bring is the conveniency of having everything in once and you save time.
I was just thinking that there's gotta be, maybe with research, certain types of plants that give off more, clean more and give off more oxygen.
Yes.
And, to have that in a little brochure or something, the pure facts for CEOs and people like that who are the decision makers, why, the really down and dirty chemistry of it all would be really good to have on there, because a lot of people making the decisions are like all about that. But, as we all know, there's 4 different kind of people, so those would be the decision makers. So I would be really compelled if I had a company, and even if there were other landscaping companies coming in, you did the research, you found out this is why I'm using these plants, this is gonna give you this much more. I don't know if you can prove it or quantify it, but you could at least, show that you put a lot more thought into it than the others.
thought about getting together with other people that supply items to offices. Like I know somebody who brings in fresh fruit every day. And so to be in with somebody like that because they're
That'd be
nature oriented.
Because if we're after the same target markets.
That's what I was thinking. Okay. I can get you guys.
Thank you.
If you've noticed hospital waiting rooms where they are already programmed to paint colors for relaxation, think of even larger successful dental practices. People hate going to the dentist. You could even make a niche out of the dental inventory with a combination of real and artificial, especially ceilings when they're laying there looking up. Could be a little niche.
Yes, I'd love to try.
Greens and relaxing colors, known to be, as I say, they paint for that very reason.
So, I love, and niches are great, and especially thinking your business. There was two things. One, we need to connect you with the Fairfax Economic Development Agency, right? They have a list of companies that are moving into this area. And typically, it might be easier for you to get a foothold on incoming businesses rather than business that you're trying to retrofit, right? So, but you can play both sides of that coin. I love the dentist thing. So one of the plays on this, and this is where you need to get your marketing, your messaging done, is why would a dentist want to do this, right? One, biggest thing, reduce the level of nervousness of people sitting in a waiting room, right? Big thing for me, I hate it, but I go. But create an environment almost spa-like. But that's where you have to get, if you're going to go after a niche, you can have multiple niches. What is it for each niche that I'm going to be able to do? Like, what is the problem I'm solving for each of these people? I'm with you. I think from your value proposition, you've got to watch you're not going to get put in this category of, hey, I'm an interior designer.
Yep.
Because you're not.
No, you're right.
Right? So you've got to be careful that you don't get yourself pigeonholed into that thing. Not there's anything wrong with interior designers. I'm just saying.
No, it's just not matching.
Right.
Yeah.
Going on your website briefly, right? A little bit too much information about you, not enough about the problem you solve. Right. So you just want to get that. Maybe talk to Jane, get that front and center. Right. It's, yeah. It's just a little bit too much about you.
Okay, great.
Jen?
The holidays are coming up. Do you have gift certificates or things, like this would be a great client gift to give to a organization, for an organization, to give to a team, like we're redoing your space, I don't know, I'm just thinking through.
I love it, I would love to.
That ability to give gift cards, right, and make it a present. Even last year for Teachers Appreciation Week, I actually gave a plant because I wanted them to have cleaner air in the room where my child was.
Yeah.
So like the teacher gifts for the holidays is the one where it doesn't feel weird, like you're buying them a bike or something, right? And some parents around here do that. This would be a great one where it goes in the classroom. So maybe think about some of the themes and how could you make that easy for people to give to others, because this is a unique, interesting gift that's like care about your space and how.
Yeah, great idea, I love it. So many ideas, I mean, days that are February.
We have it on film for you, so we know.
So down the road, I could see like a subscription type of service where people, order certain products, and then they can order something else like 2 months later. Because a lot of people don't want the responsibility of trying to keep something alive. So if it has a shelf life, and they know that okay, I can just renew my subscription and get something a completely different curated set of fresh products for my office or workspace. I think that might be a great opportunity as well.
So it was brought up by Connie a little bit ago about partnering with the suppliers and stuff like that. I think taking it one step further, thinking from the logical point of, say, an office manager, what do they think when their boss says to sit there and get some plants? They call a local florist, or they call the local, you know, like, Merrifield Garden Center or something like that. Have you reached out to them, like Merrifield Garden Center and others like that, to see if they would be interested in partnering with you in offering the app, for instance, through their website, as a link on their website and such, to sit there and get it? Because people go, and now it's like, here's this, you know, Viv Spaces, they can click on that, see your information, go, oh, this is cool, and now they're partnering with you in getting a flow of people, because half the time I know from going over there, they have these, you know, experts who sit there and all they're doing is salespeople, right? And all they're doing is saying, oh, you want this plant, you want that plant. Your app and your process could help that, because now it's a consultative expert. You're not, as you said, an interior designer. You're not a landscape architect, which is what you're fitting that gap right in between, which might be, you know, something of interest for them. Have you?
It is, I haven't, I love the idea.
Because
The idea is, yeah.
because there are lots of garden centers around here, not just Merrifield Garden Center, there is others in Maryland and stuff like that, even further out. And for them, their effort is minimal,
Yeah.
because now you're selling, you're helping
For
them sell.
them, right. Awesome, yeah, awesome.
Sorry, I don't talk so much. Since you're new, one thing you may consider is just being very hands-on to be successful, because you want to paint what success looks like. So Office A will have a growing, thriving environment. So you may consider, because we talk about having other people. I mean, I used to work for a company that paid someone, they would come in and water the plants and do those things, and they dump water in. That's what they did, right? Maybe wipe the dust off. But I think you may start with investing more time in making sure that whoever you have to contact is successful, and then they'll bring you to the where maybe you might consider at some point offering as another service the care and maintenance and.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is just a quick idea, to make sure that you wanna stay away from being an interior designer or whatever. The point is that there's a whole movement of form and function in the design world, and that architects, I mean, they're all, it's a very cool movement, and it's minimal, and, you know, the whole thing. So I would definitely, you know, that's also added value. You're not just, it's not just gonna make your place beautiful, but it has a huge function, and then you can, that's the payoff. But just those two words together, form and function, I'm sure everyone's heard of it, but, you know, it would definitely say there's much more to it than just, you know.
Very good point, yes.
I'm just gonna ask you if you've got three things, right? You have a strategy plan, you have a business plan, you have a marketing plan. You have those three things.
In progress, in progress.
You
From all
need to
this,
find someone who can work with you and get these things done,
absolutely,
right?
Absolutely.
Because I mean, there's a million ideas coming out here, but you've got to somehow find a way to formulate that
Yes.
and get it into practical actions, right?
absolutely,
Um,
absolutely, that's,
and 90-day projects, like 90 days, what am I doing? What's my top 1, 2, or 3 things I've got to get done?
especially because I'm by myself.
Yeah, so you've got to find someone that can help you get that done.
That, yeah, I need to, put things into perspective and hire a team.
Tony?
No,
It was just stretching, I think.
The only other thing I can, you know, is along the parking line is, construction companies, especially, home renovation specialists. You know, their office construction is happening all the time. And finding these companies that are getting that work, where you can partner, what they can do is give you a sit-down opportunity with the manager of the office that's coming in. Then you're part of the work, you're part of the process of, you know, the rebuild or the build out for the new office, and having this incorporated into it. And then as an ongoing thing with that office, you know, you're now, you know, as others have mentioned, it's a continuing communication, changing, as James said, you know, every 90 days or so, you know, things change over. And if you become part of their budget, that's it.
Yep. Yeah,
That's the
if
winning
you're in
proposition.
You have a budget line.
Exactly.
Okay, that's true. Thank you.
So in Reston, there's this center for nature, it's nature center. Maybe you can go there and speak about the importance of having an ambience, whatever.
Yes.
So just do a lot of workshops for free, So the people will know you, and then they will be interested to hire you. So the nature center is almost in every county. So you can check it out where is that areas, and then you can do this speaking engagement and tell about the importance of have plants in your ambience.
Yeah, I'd like that, because I'd like to educate people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you.
I like the idea of, going after all these new places, but I think to show that it's an increase in that creativity and an increase in productivity, what some other people were saying about creating those case studies, you almost have to go for a company that's established and already understands what their levels are, so that way you can show that increase. So when you're recruiting beta testers, I would say also go after, people who are already in business, so that way you can create that case study and show those increases to this gentleman's point of, hey, here's really what it can do for you. We have the concrete numbers to show that.
For your beta testers, I know on your website you have a form. Is that where beta testers would go?
Yes.
I'd probably recommend a beta test button at the top, or join our beta test, and have that form feel different and a little more background on the process. Because right now the form is really more of an email sign up, even though it's the same information. So if you ask us to help you get beta testers, I'd love to send them to click on the beta test page or the button, right, and then go in and they'll know what to do. So just something to think about. How are you setting expectations for beta testers? Tell them about how long it's going to be, when you're going to get back to them, all of that. Make it a little bit more of a formal beta test.
Okay,
I think
great.
that would be
I would
helpful.
love to talk about it, because I'm not familiar about it. Yeah, awesome, thank you.
Going on for Jen's point, so what are you really going to do with beta testers? Like, say, gives us some ideas so we can help you.
I will provide everything for the beta testers to install in their space and keep it for 2 or 3 weeks. I want to really iron out the process. Is it really easy for people to understand what they're supposed to do, and with the decorative accents and the plants that have been sent to them? Are they finding it too complicated to hang 3 plants on the walls? So what kind of user guide or little manual should I include in it, really, just to see what.
So they have to kind of do it themselves, and they're going to give you feedback on how it's done.
Yes, the idea was to have them do it themselves, or I can bring the box and watch them do it and see from there what works and what doesn't work, so that I can learn to make it. The goal is to make it easy and inexpensive for companies. If you remove installation, you cut costs, and many of these things are really small and easy to handle, so that's where I want to try to beta test.
Well, I used to work for a company that kind of did the reverse. It got bought out and a new CEO came in, and we had casual atmosphere. We did have plants, and he thought it was too casual, had the plants removed, painted the walls really white and plain, and our productivity actually decreased. So that's a very reverse aspect of it. And along with that, I have been in the Mason Center where you've put in some of these installations, and I've worked in an office that didn't have it, and it wasn't as productive. And then as going through the Mason Center, I noticed the conference room that you have. Why didn't we have the meeting in here? We would have got so much more done. You did a beautiful job up there, by the way. Thank you.
Russ, you said all of that and it wasn't even on camera.
My question is regarding the beta testers. My first thought was you're trying to prove that this actually works, but you're not trying to prove that it works. You're trying to prove that your particular process is effective as the other processes are.
That is correct.
Somehow that message needs to be communicated.
Okay, very good, thank you. Yeah, clarification.
Yeah, I think you're in an alpha test, right? You're
Maybe
in a-
alpha
you're
test,
before
yes.
beta. And so Alan's point is spot on to set those expectations. And if success in your alpha is, does my process work? So that when you go to your beta test and you get 10 small businesses, 5 shared office spaces, 5 corporate, and you actually are doing a beta, then you're validating which customer segments you should be going after and the messaging. So yes, I think you're in an earlier stage even then. Like I wouldn't go talk to the customers you really want right now. I would talk to some people who are willing to have it be funky. So that you don't have a problem with the people you actually want to work with.
Yes. Absolutely. Right on.
Any other?
I would just, and I say this with everybody that comes here, so you've got to have a model. You need to be able to demonstrate or show, not tell people how your system works, right? To the point that this is my competitive advantage, right? This is why us. But it's very difficult for human beings to assimilate verbal nuances, right? Every business is going to have some nuances. So however you do it, find a geometric shape, create a business model that shows exactly what you do, what that outcome is.
You mean the signature system?
I'm talking about a signature system, Jen. Well, yeah, it's actually not, but it is, kind of. But yes, it has to be something that you can demonstrate the system. Let me show you how this is going to work. Here's the 3 things that we're going to do. Here's the outcome we're going to produce. Here's the benefit. Here's the 3 benefits to your employees, right? And then after that, it all comes down to implementation and execution. That's an easier thing to sell to somebody walking in and say, let me show you how this thing works. Than going through the chemistry. I have to be honest, I don't care about the chemistry. I don't. I'm sure it's really fun and it's important. What I care about is the outcome. Like, what is this going to do for me and my employees? Will it help me keep employees longer? Yeah, okay, that's the first hurdle. Great, let's have a conversation. All right, so signature system, model, however you want to phrase it, but create something that you can demonstrate this is how this thing works. Because this is complex. It's a little bit more complex. Be quiet. It's a little bit more complex. Go.
I don't know what that was.
There is a bibbiz.com who sells eco-friendly utensils, stuff like that. So while you're in the early stage, I would recommend you look at your name, make sure you can protect it. If you can't, think about if your name could be different to really speak to what you do that differentiates you. So just while you're looking at your process and your system and your model, I recommend making sure your brand really aligns with that and puts you on the best footing from a messaging standpoint. As far as your logo, your name, and even a tagline, those 3 things together can really help you stand out. So just a recommendation to check that.
So this is going to be outside of the norm, but I honestly think in what you're doing, this may work. Create a meetup group online for healthy workspaces. Because part of what you're trying to do is you're trying to find co-founders and people who are like-minded to you. You're also trying to find beta testers from the process, but also trying to find people who are interested in what you do. It costs nothing to create a meetup group. Find a place to meet, once a week or once a month or whatever. And it will go out, Meetup will market it for you, and people who are interested in that will now say, oh, look, there's a meetup, for this, for healthy workspaces. And you'll get a arc of different people for different things and different reasons, but you'll be able to start a dialogue with them. And that way you're doing, free marketing. All you have to do is find a place to sit and meet up at a coffee shop or something like that. You may be able to find someone who'd be willing to sponsor you to have people come in who are like-minded, who are interested in this process. Okay.
Okay, just enough of another one. My first thought was you probably wanted to sell the office managers, but there's a group called the Society of Human Resource Managers, so you may want to connect with them, or actually using LinkedIn groups to connect with those and make function managers. Those people will probably be interested in that.
Not anymore.
No, we have it on,
Okay, we have Laura's backup, okay.
Oh yeah, I still recording everything, so.
Okay.
But I just want to remember everybody, be sure that you can fill the little card. It's very important, it's easier if you put your name and your email and any comments so she can follow up with you. We appreciate that.
So